that is outside of your benefits. I don't know if that was any more clear, but if you have more questions on that, please don't sit on the fence or stay away because you don't understand or I didn't explain it. You can always contact us and we'll walk you through that process. Here's a question from Bully, and I'll let you answer it, Don, if you'd like. Bully said, can't we just file directly with the JAG? So I take it, Bully's asking, do they need lawyers in the process?
Michael, I always tell my clients I don't do my own plumbing and I don't do my own electric work. I think you need an expert in the area. I mean, certainly somebody could file the claim form on their own. However, there's a lot of pitfalls in that. When we file the claim form initially, which is a precondition, we have to put an amount in there, and that amount's not changing. So, God forbid you filed your own claim form and put a low amount, you're not going to be able to go back and change that. Additionally, we're trial lawyers. Michael, I know you've been in the courtroom for over 30 years, and I have. We have to, follow the rules of evidence. We have to prove causation. We have to get doctors. Right now, these are all lawsuits. A federal court lawsuit is something that I don't think anybody wants to handle on their own. Hopefully they'll be handled administratively, maybe much easier down the road. Right now we have to get prepared for a full-blown lawsuit, which means rules of evidence, causation, medical experts. So somebody could certainly file a claim on their own, but I certainly wouldn't advise that.
No, I agree entirely. And there are multiple steps, but there are two different processes that this new law says we have to go through. And if we mess up and the time runs out, we don't get a claim through. So the first step is we have to file an administrative claim for you. And before we do that, we have to gather information. There's certain things that the government wants us to put in a form. And then we file that with the government, with the JAG Corps, and they have 6 months to respond to it. They can counteroffer, they can agree with our demand, they can just say no. But we have to give them a 6-month period before we file a lawsuit. And the law says we have to do all of this within 2 years. Now, the lawsuit might go on longer, but there's an administrative claim and then the lawsuit. And filing lawsuits are tricky, and you have to kind of cross your T's and dot your I's. So, yes, it's possible to do it by yourself. It would be a very confusing and overwhelming process. And we, both Don and my firm, we've talked to lawyers for the government, the other side of this, and we kind of understand that right now they're in a state of confusion. I spoke to somebody that is one of the 3 people that's on the intake group for claims being filed. They have 3. They anticipate 350,000 claims being filed, and they've told us there's no way they can answer in 6 months. It's going to take longer. They have certain things they will tell us eventually that they want. And they've also said they don't really want us to file individually. They would rather have us do a bulk upload of as many clients as possible because they don't have the bandwidth, at least right now, to handle individuals. Now, they'll have to, but it does create some confusion, and it would probably result in a lot of frustration, and it likely will for our law firms as well. I'm looking at, a lot of these are such good questions. Here's one that kind of relates to what we were just talking about, all the paperwork that has to be done. Stephen Ness wrote, what paper is needed by your firm? And I'll explain that, I guess. Kevin, can you show the video of our intake group? And I'll explain a little bit of the process of what happens if you call in on the 800 number. So this is some of our intake specialists who are actually in that room right now taking calls. They do this all day. The video kind of didn't even walk through. There's more of them if you keep going around the corners. And so when you call in, they will walk through a series of questions with you to make sure you have a qualifying illness, or if it's not, they will talk to a lawyer and see if we will accept the case anyway. Most firms have a similar process where people do an intake and it's subject to maybe the lawyer signing off on it or agreeing to it. And what our people are set up to do, Stephen, is they have the paperwork needed, which is an engagement letter, a retainer that says you are engaging my firm and Don's firm to represent you. It sets forth the nature of that relationship and the responsibilities on both sides. We take these cases on what's called a contingent fee, which means we don't get paid unless we win, get you something. And there are often a lot of expenses along the way between now and the end. We pay for those. So you don't come out of pocket to pay if we have experts review medical records or request medical records. But how the expenses are handled are set forth in there. In addition to that paperwork, we have HIPAA release forms that are sent. That enables us to get the documents, medical records, so you don't have to go request them. We get from you the providers, the doctors, and the hospitals. We will order the records based on those forms that you fill out and sign. And then I believe there's another form in the packet that allows us to either go to the VA and get some of your records from the VA. It's a special form. But our intake people will go back and forth periodically over the life of the case. We will contact you directly if we need something more specific. As the case moves through different phases, we keep you informed. We send messages and try to have conferences like this so we can tell you. And then, of course, you can always call and ask questions. So the necessary paperwork to sign up can be sent to you electronically by email, and you can sign it with your finger on your tablet or on your desktop computer, so that the whole process takes 2 or 3 minutes. Some of our intake people will send that out and wait on the phone if you have questions, and then you can sign it and you're in. Some people are less comfortable doing it electronically. And in those cases, we will make arrangements to send the package to your house to sign and return. But it can all be done pretty quickly electronically through those intake people. We will, well, while we're talking about this part, Don, I'll let you talk for a second. On attorney's fees, how is it structured? I think we follow the general fee, but we also are willing to move down. So could you explain that a little bit?
Sure, Michael. I think that's the question that naturally people are concerned about, because our job is to get our clients compensation. Unfortunately, we can't give them back their health, so our job is to get them as much as we can. Right now, our attorney fees are 40%, as you mentioned. That's paid at the end of the case. There's expenses that will upfront those. But I think, as you and I, and we've done that basically because we don't know where the litigation is going, whether we're going to have to spend a month-long trial in federal court. But I think, as you and I have talked about, and we've been both handling clients for decades. I mean, and why we're working together is because I think we're both honorable and we're doing what's best for the client. So I think if somewhere down the road, if these claims are handled administratively, which I hope they are going to be, as you mentioned, the JAG office has told me the same thing, that they're not equipped to handle all these hundreds of thousands of claims. That we can talk about the fee, but I'm sure, like you, and you can tell us your experience. But I don't think in 36 years of practicing law, I've had a client be unhappy at the end of the case because of the attorney. What do you think, Mike?
No, I agree, and I've represented hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of people, and we've always done our best to treat everyone fairly. We understand we've got a strong responsibility to take care of our clients and do the right thing by them. And my experience, I don't have 36 years, I have 32. My experience over 32 years is if you take that attitude, it works out well for everyone.
Right.
The end. Here's a question. We've been talking about the veterans, the Marines in this case. Peter Tomasello wrote a question and explained his condition and that he has 100% service disability for his cancer, but his wife was there also at Lejeune when he was, and she has a cancer that may very well be related, and he wanted to know if she would be getting, whether she would have a claim. Can you explain how this is broader than just the service members?
Sure. Mike, I think it pertains to the Marines that were stationed there, family members that were there at that time, contractors that were working on the base, this is as long as they were there, 30 days, and that doesn't have to be contiguous. Also, if you were somebody that was pregnant at the time and there was some birth defects. So I think the Camp Lejeune Water Act is so much broader than just the veterans that were stationed there. Dave, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, thanks, Don. I think the VA understands this, but I'm not sure Congress was quite expecting the number of claims that were opened up when they opened it up to people who were, as we say, in vitro, that were in the womb at the time. So it's an expanding scope, and Michael mentioned 350,000 claims. There are now estimates that by the time this thing is done, there may be 800,000 claims when you take into account all of these other people. And you have contractors. Some of them actually lived on the base and they had their families that were on the base. So it just keeps expanding. So don't just assume it's for veterans or for contractors. There are a lot of other folks who had contact for at least 30 days on that base that are going to be eligible for claims.
And if someone was pregnant with their child on base, that child was exposed in utero, and that's even provided for specifically in the statute. There are miscarriages and stillborns. A lot of reproductive issues seem to be affiliated with these really bad chemicals. Our time is almost out for this chat portion, but I'm looking at a few other questions. And there's one I kind of want to leave not a warning, but a positive thing, to watch out for scams. And if you have any questions, whether it's a scam or not, contact us. Once you have a law firm representing you, no other lawyers should be contacting you. Of course, they don't know, so you might continuously get advertisements and junk mail, but let us be the guards for you on that. I've seen one circulating that went to a number of my clients over the last month. This says your settlement for $51,822. It was a very specific number. Has been approved. Please click here to claim your award. And I'll tell you that's a scam. There have been no settlements yet with the government. How do we know? There's a mandatory 6-month period of filing a claim and waiting, giving the government a chance to respond to you. And this just started. And the best estimate that the JAG Corps gave me the other day was they think it'll be 18 months before they're able to even respond to these claims outside of the 6-month period. So if someone tells you there's settlement money that's been awarded or the number for your claim has been decided right now, it's a scam. And if it doesn't come from your lawyer, then you need to be very, very careful, and you probably should contact us or your lawyer to have them look into that.
Michael, if I can just jump in real quick. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of veterans who said, well, I've been told, I'm going to get $300,000 in 6 months, and I don't have to go to court. I mean, that's clearly not true. So I have to agree with you 100%. Be careful of those scams.
Okay, I wish we had more time. I've been given the sign that we have hit our, actually 30 minutes right now, which was the time that Don and I were given to visit with you. I will tell you that when we log out of this, you will be redirected. Your computer will take you back to your personal account page that you use to access this town hall. And you can follow through the next steps there and work your way to signing up with us if that's what you like. I certainly hope you do. It would be a pleasure and an honor to represent you. But you can also call that 800 number. Sometimes it's easier or less confusing just to talk to a person and have the documents emailed to you. So you can call that 1-800-424-0443. And you can do it, hopefully some people have been calling now, you can do it after this. And then that number, even after this program ends, will be the way to access our law firm directly. So on behalf of myself and Stanley Law, I want to thank all of you for attending. We look forward to talking with you more in the future. Don, I'll give it to you.
Thanks, Michael. It will be an honor to represent you. If you have any questions, just let us know. Michael and I'll be working together on your case. We look forward to meeting you.
Thank you very much.